everyone, and welcome back to the Coin Drop podcast. This is episode number 100. And today we have a special guest with us. Flew out west to hang out with us for the weekend because it was my birthday. I invited him out on a whim, and he said he'd show up. So Bski's joining us. Bski, thanks for being here.
No problem. Glad to be here.
And Mike, as always, is here.
Yeah, fuck me, dude. Bski's here.
Yeah, Bski's here. Fuck you. You're trash now. So I'm trying to keep my voice down. Audio balance might be a little weird on this episode because Bski and I are actually sitting back to back. Well, front to front. So it's literally on the other side of my screen as I'm looking at this. So audio balance might be a little off. He also didn't bring a mic with him because he wasn't exactly planning on being on this. As some we kind of set up at the last minute. So bear with us. Episode 100. We're still figuring this out, right? It's only been almost 2.5 years.
Oh God. Yeah.
Kind of honored for 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
More than 100 if you consider the episodes. I think we're like 120 or something like that.
Yeah, if you add all the extra episodes and the streams and stuff like that in. So before we jump into the content for tonight, just a reminder, please, tell your friends about us. If you like the show, share us, let people know we're here. The more people that know about us, the bigger we can get, the more giveaways, the more fun we can have. So there's all of that. We are planning on going to PAX. Tickets for PAX West go on sale soon, and media registration opens. So fingers crossed I can go, and Mike hopefully maybe can go as media, which will save us some money and actually allow us to talk to the devs other than, having to go and ask to talk to the devs. We'd actually be able to schedule appointments, which would be great again. So hopefully we can do that. But if not, we will be going otherwise. If you're planning on going, let us know. We can hook up, maybe do lunch, drinks, whatever. If you're planning on being in the area for PAX at the end of August, we will be there. So look for us. Probably be handing out business cards outside of the convention center again, because I do that every year. So I don't think I have any other housekeeping. So I guess let's go ahead and jump into it. Mike, how's your week been?
It's been pretty productive. Mostly just working and then hanging out with the girlfriend, and yeah. Today or tomorrow I'm supposed to be getting my first month review or something like that. So super stressed, but super excited about that.
Nice.
And yeah, that's kind of just been my week.
Got it. Bski, what about you, man? What have you been up to this week?
Mostly just hanging out with you. For that, doing some repair work in the house and trying to really spread myself out between a couple of games, between Farm Sim, Crusader Kings with you, and trying to keep up with my War Thunder grind, man.
Yeah, I hear you. Crusader Kings with you has been a lot of fun. Being able to just cut Europe in half with Poland and Ravenholm has been a lot of fun. Although we did try and do a feudal age, and I took over the Byzantine Empire and got completely wrecked. Yeah, it was rough.
Mangled.
Yep. So let's go ahead and jump into our topics tonight. This first topic is one that's actually going to be probably not for everyone. This is one my wife actually brought to my attention. A new, I want to say gimmicky, but that almost doesn't seem fair. It's a new console, air quotes for console, being geared towards active play for younger children. It's called the NEX Playground, NEX Playground. And this is a purpose-built machine to engage children in video games in a motion capture way. Think, if you're old enough, PlayStation Eye games or Kinect, or even the early Wii games, right? So it's got that kind of vibe, but it's Android based, and they're developing games specifically for it. And I don't know how to feel about it. So I'd like to get your guys' opinions on kind of what your initial thoughts are about this thing. It's a weird little device. It's a little cube. It almost looks like it's a big Rubik's Cube, and it's multicolored, and it's got a little camera on it. And that's pretty much all it is for interaction, plus some controllers to select stuff, it seems like. But what did you guys think about it from anything that you saw on it?
It seems super I almost want to say an Ouya. Like an Ouya 2. But that's not necessarily a good thing when someone says, man, this seems like an Ouya. Because we all know how that went.
Right.
And I could tell right off the bat, because you mentioned it runs Android, but I could tell right off the bat before you even discovered that it runs Android that it does. So I'm curious to see if it's like hackable.
Yeah, and to what end, right? Like what you would get out
Yeah.
of cracking that, right? Because it uses motion controls. It seems like it has some sort of like wand-like controller. Bski, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, like Mike was saying, it does remind me a lot of the Ouya. It seems really interesting. As far as the Android part of it, if it's running Android, it absolutely is 100% hackable, and so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of potential for that. But the motion capture thing, yeah, kind of harken me back to the Connect days, and it seems like has some potential to be a lot of fun, especially for kids. But like you said, that's kind of a gimmick that hasn't really taken on as much lately, and a lot of companies have still been trying to recapture that nostalgia from the original Wii release, and hasn't really been able to quite achieve such a success since.
Yeah, I agree. The wife brought up a really good point on it too, right? Is they're trying to fill a gap that seems to continue to grow despite all these companies trying to fill it, right? Nintendo kind of started out marketing towards children, right? You had the NES, the SNES, you had Mario, you had Mega Man, you had, all these great titles, and now their strategy is more milking those titles and capturing nostalgia than it is bringing younger audiences in. There's still those games out there, right? But she made some really good points about how this could help younger kids get into gaming in a much more, not easier, but less hand-eye coordination, right? Like with video games, you really have to be at a certain point in child development to even begin to play. Even simple games like NES or SNES, where you've got just a few buttons, right? So where this is just movements and interacting with the screen, it could be actually a really good console for younger children to kind of get them into gaming initially and get them interested. Not that I think it takes a lot to get kids into video games, to be honest, but let's talk about some other things. So the price point I feel is a little too high. It has a steep price point. It is on sale right now on Amazon for $200, but the usual price for this thing is $249.99, which seems a little bit up there. Honestly, that almost feels like it's competing with actual consoles.
Yeah.
But it does come with 5 games. So it comes with Fruit Ninja, which everybody and their brother knows what Fruit Ninja is. We've played it on every fucking device under the sun. A game called Goalkeeper, which you play as a goalie and have to block shots. A game called Starry, which looks like Beat Saber mixed with Let's Dance. Party Foul, which is weird party games, not quite. I guess you could say like motion based versions of maybe like Mario games where you've got to like swat flies or this or that or make a certain pose, things of that nature, right? And then you've got Whack-A-Mole, and those all come free, well, free air quotes, with that $249.99 price tag, right? Or $199 on Amazon. And it seems like a reasonable price, more so at that 200 price point than the 249. That seems a little bit high in my opinion. And then they've got their what they call
subscription.
Yeah, their subscription play pass, which also feels a bit high. I don't know how long this thing's been out either, so that's part of it. It has been out long enough to supposedly have over 200,000 good reviews on their website, but as I told Mike earlier off camera about dead internet theory, I have to question how many of those are bots. So
Yeah, the main review is like AI as fuck. It says the play pass is great. New games keep coming out. And honestly, it's so much cheaper than what we spent on Switch games. Plus, we play it more active. We play it more and stay active. That just sounds like a ChatGPT generated fucking review.
Yeah,
to me.
it does, but it also does make some good points, right? Like with Switch announcing their digital games are going to be $80 and their physical are going to be $90. I can understand that point, but it does definitely, like, it sounds like at the very least a crafted review done by somebody on the marketing team, right?
It absolutely does. And I can kind of see where this is one of those nice situations where a new player can come in and kind of fill the void that Nintendo is obviously making by just elevating the price point so high that they're going to be alienating a lot of people, especially younger kids who just want something simple to play and not have to feed Nintendo to be able to play the things that they've loved in the past.
Yeah.
But at the same time, going back to the review of it, I'm looking at the Play Pass on it, and it's like $50 for 3 months, and then like $90 for a year. It's clearly the monetization scheme, it's a subscription service. That's what they're going to be selling you on. But that's surprising though, with such a high entry cost for something that you're going to be paying month over
Yeah.
year over year.
Yeah.
And I even point out to you, Russ, the Play Pass thing, which is I think it's so dumb that they call it that, because Google Play's own subscription service is called Play Pass, I think, as well.
Or something similar at the very least, right?
Yeah, their Play Pass subscription thing for 3 months is $150 a year
Jeez.
if you subscribe for 3 months at a time. So like it's set up to push you towards the $90.
Yeah, because you're saving
Yearly.
you're saving what, $101 annually that way.
Yep.
Yeah.
But let's talk about what you do get for that price point, right? So you do get every game in their catalog. It works just like you get games. It works just like Microsoft, Game Pass, right? You get all the games in the catalog, and they do say that they add new games every month. And it looks like they've got 2 new games coming. One of them being How to Train Your Dragon game. So it as long as they continue to deliver on that promise, arguably, which I don't know how you're going to keep up that pace, but that's a different story. Arguably, the longer you have this subscription for $90 a year, the more value you're getting out of it, right? So there is that, but it again goes back to and their games aren't just like, because the question I had is like, how can you be a new console and then like, are you running app games? Are you running like, what are you running? These are seemingly games built specifically for the NEX to use their motion controls. They're pretty simple games, but at the same time, they're still being made, and they are partnering with big name IPs. They've got Disney games. They've got like a Kung Fu Panda game. Yeah, they've got like DreamWorks games because they paired with Netflix and DreamWorks for Gabby Cat. They've got Sesame Street games, so they've paired with PBS. Like they're working with big
Barbie
IPs.
Dance Party.
Barbie Dance Party. Yeah,
they definitely leaned into the appeal for their target audience, and that should really work well for them.
Yeah.
Kind of seen too that the value of it is good too, especially if you have kids, and especially if you're trying to market to the young kids, that they're going to come in and out of whatever their favorite thing is at the time. Maybe they end up not being a gamer. Sad, but it happens. So you can kind of drop that without having to invest in hundreds or dozens of titles for something that your child might not even end up playing another year or two. So that's the positive side of the subscription thing from my perspective.
Yeah, I think that's a good perspective, honestly. And to be fair, the $250 price tag for something that would be a quote console is pretty reasonable if you're just trying to see if your kid is interested in video games. Because, I like to think everybody would be, but that's not the case. Not everybody does want to play video games, right? So it's an interesting product, and it's weird that we're seeing the industry grow 2 separate gaps in complete opposition of each other, right? Like Microsoft is ultimately leaving the hardware market. They're going to move eventually just to a streaming service and like Games Pass. Like that's very clearly where they're going. They're pushing to a third-party platform. So Microsoft console is potentially going to be gone in the next 10 years. And now you've got Nintendo that like, because Tim and I talked about it a lot, like what's going to happen when Microsoft is gone. Nintendo does not compete with Sony. They don't have the ability to. And now they're releasing the Switch 2, which kind of seems like they're trying to compete with Sony, but their price point's all out of whack for the power, and their game costs have gone through the roof, and their games never go down in price. So like, I'm really curious to see what happens there. But now because of that move, we're seeing a gap open up where Nintendo used to fill, the lower cost to entry, the more child-friendly stuff. So like it's really weird that we're seeing this like push where Microsoft is slowly pulling away, and we're seeing Nintendo kind of try and bridge that gap. So yeah, I wish them the best. I'm curious about it. I might consider picking one up for my daughter, but I'm not 100% sold on it yet. I'm gonna have to find some more, but we thought it would be an interesting topic for the other gaming dads or gaming adults out there that have kids. So
I just to kind of add, I went to the actual shop page on their website to actually look at the customer reviews. Those are the real reviews.
Yeah. Do you want to read a couple to us? Let us know what you see.
So I'll just read the top 2 that are featured, and they're literally opposite ends of the spectrum. They're like 5-star and then 2-star. 5-star one makes a good point. it would be a great investment if your kid is ADD or ADHD.
And my kid is definitely that.
The 2-star review. I like the idea of this and was happy when we got it for Christmas. So I guess it released some point last year.
Yeah, sometime last year, 2024. What had to have been?
They got it for their 5-year-old autistic son. He's unable to play the games, but enjoys watching his wife and him play. He said his biggest issue is the lack of content. This is a review from a month ago after playing with it since Christmas.
Interesting.
Lack of content that it comes with. 4 games and 1 dancing game is unplayable. I asked for a free trial to the Play Pass. It was told I need to sign up and then get a refund after 7 days. When you are charging $200 for a system, you need to offer more free content. They have seasonal and holiday games as their Play Pass, but it would be nice if you can get at least one of those for free. As others have said, it's a gift you get that makes you pay money to use its full functionality.
Yeah.
I would not recommend this product the way it is currently set up.
Yeah, that's the biggest hurdle, right? Is it almost feels predatory. I think that's really well put on his end. It's the gift you get that makes you pay more. I think it'll get there if they continue to be a thing and don't go the way of the Ouya or the Stadia and just completely disappear, right? Content will continue to come out for it. It will continue to grow its library. Look at Game Pass. I mean, we saw that with Game Pass. It grew from like 100 and something odd games to now it's well over 1,000 games on their catalog, isn't it?
And you can play them all for $12 a month.
Yeah, and that's the kicker too, right? Is that's actually on, I think that's actually technically more expensive than the Play Pass then. Although the Play Pass is only 30-ish games right now and they have more coming, but $12 a month would be $144 a year, right? 12 times 12? That sounds right. I think that's math. It sounds like math, as Chris would say.
I think there's one thing I didn't quite catch about this is that the only way to get the other games is through that subscription pass.
Yeah, you can't get any other games.
It's subscription only or the 5 month it comes with.
I was going to say, one of the other reviews even mentioned that the idea is cool, but you can't buy any games. You have to pay for the Play Pass, and you can't purchase the games that it unlocks.
That is...
So you get 4 games, or...
nothing.
You can... Yeah.
That's predatory part of it. You either get everything and pay for it, or that's it. You can't teach people to tailor what just you want.
Yeah, that's why I want to see if this thing is hackable, because, like, it runs Android, so in theory... And it has some sort of input using your hands to like select things or a wand or whatever. So that means there's a translation layer somewhere in the OS. So it would theoretically be easy, air quotes, easy, to like put Google Play Store on it and Google services, or unlock them if they're already there and just lock down, and then just download all the games you already own on your Android phones.
Yeah. And then the question then becomes, how do you interact with it, right? Like, do you have to use this wand? Do you actually it becomes a question. I wonder, do they have anything?
I mean, the other thing is Android has built-in controller support, and most, if not all of the games that are Android games show that support. Like it uses an input translation layer. So like A would act as a tap, and like the thumbstick would act as a swipe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I wonder, I don't see anything. Okay, so there definitely is some sort of controller, which means it's either got RF or it's got Bluetooth. And if it has Bluetooth, you could absolutely sync a controller to the thing if you cracked it and installed the drivers. So it's got, if on their website, if you go to shop and then go to NEX Playground and scroll down, one of the reviews pictures, customer related images, shows the box, and then to the left of it you have like a little controller that looks like it's got 2 buttons that are yellow and then like a green kind of big larger button that almost looks like the NVIDIA Shield button. Yeah, so if it has that, it's got to have some kind of sensor in it for receiving that input.
I'm gonna try and get that guy that took apart the Steam machine that I showed you. His name's Bringus Studios.
Yeah.
I want to try and get him to fucking buy this thing and just like do a full breakdown on it.
That would be cool.
Because he would be the chaotic one to like rip it open.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Good luck though. I mean, it's made to be abused, right? Like it's very clearly made to be like okay, you have kids. If somebody just smashes this thing across the wall, is it going to break? Right. So
Yeah.
it's Koopa certified kid safe, whatever the fuck that means.
Kappa?
Sure.
Kappa certified?
Sure.
Koopa Troopa.
Yeah, that's how I interpreted it. I mean, Copa? Maybe it's
The
Copa.
best inventions 2023. Parents' best toys 2023. Okay, so
Yeah.
this thing's been out for a minute.
Yeah.
The website's recent though, because the website is just trademarked 20. Wait, what the fuck? Sorry, we're going down the rabbit hole here, guys.
We sure are.
Just the shop page is 2024, but the main website page, like if you just click on the logo,
Mm-hmm.
that one is trademarked 2025.
So I wonder if they got tired of having to cut Amazon in on their sales and made their own direct sale page.
Yeah,
because they're using Shop, or Shopify or whatever, which everybody talks about being like the greatest shopping experience. I don't fucking anyway. Yeah, right. Like sure, fucking whatever. But I don't know. It's an interesting topic. The wife brought to my attention. I figured we'd look into it and talk about it a little bit. And I think that's really all we have to say. Any other thoughts before we move on?
I did see on there too, for anybody who is concerned about privacy, it does actually come with a camera cover on there. It's not just staring into your living room 24/7. So that's all I got.
All right. Well, next up then we've got an update to a game we talked about a long time ago. I think we covered this in the upcoming games when it went into early access back in February. This is Legacy Steel and Sorcery. And this is a fantasy, high fantasy, I guess, action combat PvPvE extraction RPG. So if you've played Dark and Darker, yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful. If you played Dark and Darker, if you played Dungeonborn, things like that, this is very much in that vein, but it's a third person perspective. And this is actually made by industry veterans. A lot of veterans from WoW worked on this game and made this, and it's their kind of goal to make this a love letter to the PvP of WoW. That's kind of what their inspiration was. Currently, it is in early access on Steam, and they're doing a 20% off sale until the end of May 22nd. So right now you can get it for $18.74 instead of $24.99, and it has mixed reviews, which is not uncommon for early access games. We see that a lot. They are doing their big season 1 update, which just went live. A bunch of stuff has been changed. They've added actual sorcery to the game, so you can now play as a wizard, which I guess was not available until now, which is weird for a game called Legacy Steel and Sorcery. So a little interesting to not launch early access with that ability to have, the magic side of your title.
No.
But yeah, it's I saw this game and I was pretty interested when they announced it, and I was like, man, this does look kind of cool, but I've been considering picking it up and playing it. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? I know, Mike, you're big into extraction shooters. We have a lot of fun playing those. We've played the Delta Force one. We've played Tarkov. We've played Gray Zone. Obviously played Exfil with the devs. Bski, I don't know where you stand on extraction shooters. I know they're kind of a take it or leave it kind of style of gameplay. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts.
Well,
yeah, I'll let BC go first.
Yeah, I've actually been kind of wanting to jump on the extraction shooter chain for a little bit. I just really haven't committed. The closest thing I've been playing when it comes to first-person shooters has been technically War Thunder. You can consider it, even though it's vehicle-based. But besides that, I've just been hitting like PUBG and maybe some Sandstorm lately. But I've been kind of wanting to do that because I want some more multiplayer interaction, and I'm trying to get back into maybe one of those somewhere. But this, I would never really was a big WoW person, but I can see the potential for this because one of my best friends back home they've ran a guild for like years, and that was their most favorite part of it was dealing with the PvP aspects and running their guild together. So I can see a lot of potential for that to trying to capture that niche crowd of people who just either don't want to put up with WoW or Blizzard anymore, or trying to recapture that legacy kind of vibe that they had that I'm sure has probably gone away over the years from what the traditional WoW is to what it is now.
Yeah, it's changed a lot over the years. Mike, what are your thoughts?
Like kind of a mixed bundle on that one. I like the idea, but I feel like they're doing it wrong. Because even one of the reviews on the Steam page mentioned that Albion does it, but they can do it right because they have the time and like they have the safe zones and low risk zones and stuff like that already like set up.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this is straight up just like you're walking out into like PvP WoW basically.
Yeah.
And I kind of like. I like the art style.
Yeah,
and it makes me want
as well.
It makes me want to play it. But apparently, they have a demo going on for the next 22 hours.
They've actually got. It's not a demo. It's a live free weekend, so it is free to play until the end of the. In 22 hours, it ends. So unfortunately, for those of you listening, the free weekend has already ended. But the discount is going on until the 22nd.
I don't know. I might get it on discount.
Yeah.
And play it for an hour, and if I don't like it, then I'll just refund it. But like, it looks like it could be good.
That's kind of my thought, right? Like it's early access. Like it's a lot like it reminds me a lot of where Iron Taxi is with Xville, right? Like they've made a huge amount of stride and progress in that game since we played it last time to when we played it, and most recently this month. And this game looks like it's got a lot of the same level of potential to really grow and become something cool. I mean, the image of the Barbarian on Steam alone is like, damn, that sells it, because that just sells the archetype of like the big ass bulked up axe wielding no armor berserker who's just gonna rush in and just destroy shit, and that is me to a T.
Yeah, it also looks like they have I don't know if it's necessarily character customization, but like you can swap loot like armor and like cosmetics and stuff in and out.
Yeah.
It looks like it has a good foundation, but the biggest thing for me is I used to play Albion online, and they have the structure for something like this.
Sure.
That I'm seeing just in like the trailer and some of the game clips that they do not.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna do this right now. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna snag this game and I'm gonna install their free weekend, and I'm gonna check this out today before the free weekend ends, and I'm gonna report back next episode. And
let's. Do you wanna? I can both play tonight.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah. I'm gonna grab it.
Steam is installed. Let me grab it too.
Bski, you gonna grab it too? I don't think you're gonna have time to play it today, but
I was gonna say I would love to actually grab it and play with y'all to figure it out, but I'm gonna be in the air for like the next 8 hours.
Yeah, and then you're gonna want to get home and go to bed.
Yeah, if you get up early enough tomorrow, you can play. You're landing at like 10 o'clock or like almost midnight tonight. Yeah, wake up at 4.
Get some character creation and it's done.
Servers are closed. Thank you for playing. He just like finalized. He was like typing in the last letter of his character's name. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man. Legacy, steel, and sorcery.
But I mean, at the very least, this will allow us to download it, play it, and then decide if we want to buy it on the discount right now, right? Because 25% off is a pretty reasonable deal for a game, especially one that has industry, veterans behind it that they do. And honestly, the quality of what they show in their trailers and their gameplay looks really good. So I don't know. It's worth checking out. I like third-person fantasy games. I was never big on WoW either. I was an EverQuest kid. Before EverQuest, it was like RuneScape, and then after EverQuest, it was Ragnarok and EverQuest 2, and then Rift. And so WoW is one that I tried, but I just didn't like their art style. It wasn't for me. I really liked the grounded realism that EverQuest was trying to go for. Although by nowadays, anybody who looks at EverQuest now goes, "You thought this was realism? Look, man, those were high quality graphics back in the day."
Of your time, it was brilliant of the time.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
I played WoW enough as a kid a lot. Then I moved to, I think it was called Terra.
Yeah, Terra Online. That was great. That was a fantastic game.
Great. I think it's still around. Actually.
It's not, unfortunately. I actually met with the devs at one of the first E3s I went to as media. I met with the devs at their studio in in Seattle. I think it was in their studio was in. Maybe they were just renting a space. I don't remember, but I met with them and I got to play their very first rendition of what was going to be their console release. Because for a long time it was a PC exclusive, and then they pushed it to consoles. And I got to play for the first time, like early testing phase with console controls. So I was like, this is really cool. You guys did a great job with this. Like, there's some serious potential here. And it's a shame because their action-based combat was one of the most engaging I've played in an MMO to this day. Like, it was really fun. You actually had to move. You had to be in range to hit. You could actually dodge by just moving out of the way of every attack. It was very cool.
Yeah. So, just because I'm kind of looking at Terra, apparently it's still...
Is it still a thing?
It's no longer available on Steam store, but Krafton is still up, has it on their listed on their website.
Well, I mean, they made it, right? So I don't think it's gone, but like the servers, I'm pretty sure it was closed down, if I'm not mistaken. Do a quick Google search.
Yeah. Looking up on console too.
Is Terra Online still available? Current status of Terra in 2024 console.
It's still on console.
Is it?
Yeah, they had a maintenance on the 12th on PS4 and Xbox. Apparently, Terra is still around.
You can play on a private server on PC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Yeah. It was a fun game. It was one I wouldn't mind going back to with a group of friends because it was actually a very solid game, in my opinion.
Yeah. All right.
Well, speaking of solid games, let's move on to one that's not. Mike did get a chance to kind of play Prologue Go Way Back. And as I said, when he said it's a game from the developers of PUBG, I said it's kind of a game. And I think he echoed that statement pretty hard when he played it or attempted to.
Played it, quote unquote.
So, Mike, why don't you tell us about your experience with Prologue Go Way Back?
All right. So I thought about this long and hard of the best way to explain this to someone who's not going to play it.
Yes.
Think of all of the greatest parts of Rust, the game Rust.
Mm-hmm.
Throw those out the window. And you just have health, temperature, and then like food and thirst.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's the whole fucking game.
Yep.
So DayZ without the zombies and guns.
That's even too fucking generous. Literally, it's just it's calling it a walking simulator is too it is a walking simulator, but that's too generous. The whole idea. I'm belting it on my microphone at full fucking volume.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun.
You're gonna have some fun editing the audio for this podcast.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. So like, the whole thing is that it's part of a test for some like feature set that they're creating.
Yeah.
So everybody, for the most part, gamers and developers alike, kind of understand how procedural generation works. On the gamer side, you just click a button to start the game, and it will just make a world for you. This is kind of like their attempt at going the next step with it, because they're trying to use machine learning and AI to actually do the procedural world generation, which I don't know why you would fix something that's not broken.
So I can actually speak a little bit to that because I looked into it when they announced the game. So the thing is, because this software exists now, like this is a plugin software that you can use now. Like, it not necessarily that easily, but like the software that they created to do this, to do the AI generation,
you can buy from them.
Yeah, you can buy and use. The thing is, it didn't exist when they started this project. So like, it almost happened where they were in development on like Google or whoever was making that software, and PlayerUnknown's developer was working almost in tandem. And so like, the other software released, and then they released this version of their software, and it's like, well, why did you do this? Because this exists. And they're like, guys, like, we've been working on this for 5 years. So it didn't exist. And so they were trying to create something that was truly procedurally generated to the point where like it had unlimited potential to vary, and that is kind of where they spawned this idea of their AI generated stuff.
So
go ahead, Mike.
Sorry. It says on the Steam page for Prologue that this is like one of the larger feature sets of what PlayerUnknown is hoping to actually put together to make his game whenever that happens, probably like in 2050 or whatever.
Yeah, Project Artemis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a game in the sense of like you spawn into the world in a cabin. You have to pick up a bunch of shit, just sort of like clothes, a map, compass, flashlight, other like typical survival shit. And then on the map, there's a bunch of like secrets circled, and then like where you are and where you need to go. And like everything in between that is what's procedurally generated, as far as I can tell. But it's also just like not a forgiving game, and it's glitchy as fuck.
That'd be a problem. But yeah, the non-forgiving is part of the survival genre. You gotta
Yeah, no, I
work through
don't.
adversity. Um, I was also looking at the Steam page for PlayerUnknown Productions.
Mhm.
They have a tech demo, which is probably the precursor to this, called Preface Undiscovered World, and it's literally a global machine learning developed environment. And this is probably the next iteration of that, of how they can work game mechanics into this procedurally generated world in real
Yeah.
time. And so it seems like there's a long-term goal of what they're trying to put together here, and just trying to let the world have access to it and try and get some feedback for it. Because I mean, I don't know what their actual goal is, being player unknowns, unless they have a much larger scale version of PUBG or something in the sights within the future.
The scale of Earth, the ultimate battle royale.
Well, that's the big question, right? Is they've been extremely tight-lipped on their next game, right? This guy,
Yeah.
he's working on this huge project. He's going about it in a very unique way. If our listeners didn't hear the last time we talked about it last week, he split what Project Artemis is going to be into 3 core features, right? And Prologue is one of those core features, this idea of like real world generation, survival, this kind of stuff. So what we're seeing in this game isn't really a game so much as it is, like you said, an iteration of software that's going to be in the game. So it's, while it's totally fine to be critical of it because they released it as, or are releasing it as, something that should be playable, I'm not sure how they're going to monetize it, where they're going to go. To be clear, this is a play test right now. So it's like probably alpha, beta. Was it beta?
Playtest is over now. It was like early alpha, late alpha, something like that.
Yeah, so like it's still very much in development. So what Mike has just played or attempted to play, which I think you gave it like 40 minutes before you were like, yeah, fuck this.
Yeah, dude, it was so fucked. Like it was cool at first. I was like, oh, I could like interact with shit, and like I like the fire starting mechanic and like all this other things. And like when you come up to a cabin, you have to like do a puzzle to like start the fucking generator, and then like find the fuses to put in the fuse box type puzzle. But it's just like there was like no sense of like what the fuck I was supposed to be doing the entire time.
Sure.
It was like it was not good.
I mean, and that's kind of their thing, right? Like their whole, like and I think I had the benefit of reading more press information about it than you did when you went into it kind of blind. They basically straight up said your goal in this game is to get from point A to point B. It is a walking sim. It is get your stuff, survive, and get here, right? So it's a very basic structure of a game, quote unquote. But because of their tight-lipped nature with Project Artemis, it really does beg the question of like, okay, what are you actually testing here? Are you testing the machine learning? Are you testing for like, is this going to be a major part of the next game? It's a very unique approach to game design, which we've said, and a lot of people have said about the title we're going to talk about in Patreon later today. So if you want to hear more about another very unique approach that didn't turn out so well, stay tuned for Patreon. But it's a very unique approach to game design in that they're developing the core as their own games and then going to smash them into one game. It's a very weird, unique take.
Yeah, I don't.
Go ahead, Bski.
Yeah, it's like, so yeah, I was reading a little more on just the Steam page of it, and under about this game, it says our mission, and it's straight up like we expected. Go way back, aims to test the machine learning driven terrain generation technology they developed, and the fact that this will be only the first of 3 games, there'll be all self-contained experiences and building blocks for Artemis. So it seems like this is just step 1 of it, and primarily just focus on the terrain generation and your ability to interact with it. So we'll have no idea what the other 2 are, but that is the core what they're trying to do with it.
So here's the other thing I'm noticing from that same intermission paragraph. Towards the end, they talk about Project Artemis being a massive multiplayer sandbox experience.
Yep.
Which
It sounds like
Preface, Undiscovered World, and Prologue Go Way Back are part of. So I'm wondering now if they're not even. It's not just going to be like a game. They might actually sell like a legitimate package that other companies can buy to make their MMOs with.
maybe.
Service model.
Service model.
I mean,
Yeah,
Or
because it
development.
says massively multiplayer sandbox experience,
Look
which to me also kind of sounds like Exfil. To some extent.
yeah, to some
Because it
extent,
is
for
going to end
sure.
up being a sandbox experience
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
It sounds to me like they're just making another survival MMO, right? Like they're going to compete with
Yeah.
Rust and Ark and fucking all the other ones, Daisy and everything else like
Somebody
that.
needs to, because Rust is fucking awful anymore.
Well, Rust was always awful. People just convinced themselves it wasn't.
They had $8 billion in refunds in 2020, I think it was, 2019.
That's real rough.
Yeah.
With a
$3
B.
billion.
With a B. Wow.
Billion.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, Chris told us a little bit, well, told me a little bit that Dune Awakening is going to eat my life. So, yeah, I'm a little hesitant to even pick that one up because I've already got so much eating my life. I don't need another game, but yeah, Dune.
You're never going to leave that chair. It's
to.
going to be like that episode of South Park where they're shitting and pissing in buckets.
or Battlefield buddies. You got a shit bucket.
Yep.
If you're not shitting on a bucket, you're not playing Battlefield.
You got a girlfriend? Yeah. You playing with your girlfriend? You're not playing the game.
Yeah, classic. But yeah, that's Prologue. It's kind of what I expected, honestly. I'm a little disappointed it was what I expected, but I'm curious to see where it goes. I'm curious to see what PlayerUnknown's production is working on and what's going to come out of this, right?
Yeah.
I think that's all we've got for main topics tonight. So let's go ahead and run some quick fire news, and then we'll head over to Patreon side. Bski, you've got some news for us. A couple of topics here. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what you got?
Well, one of the first things that farming sim. So like I mentioned earlier, I played Farm Sim a lot, and if anybody else hasn't played it before, but like Sim Adventures, it will surprise you on how entertaining that is. You're thinking, oh, it's just farming. How could that be entertaining? It will suck you in way quicker than you believe it could. But personally, the version I'm playing is Farm Sim 22, and that's just where I got introduced to it. This is where I started, and that's where I'm comfortable. And Giant Software that makes it, they kind of have this like 2-year release cycle of each new iteration of the game is every 2 years apart. Last one was 19, then it was 22, and then now it's 25. However, 25 has been a bit of a mixed bag for longtime fans of it. It's always been kind of an adoption thing. People will play one and then not move on to the others because they get comfortable. But 25 has set itself apart as one of the buggiest and unpolished messes that they've ever released, and it doesn't seem to be improving at any steady pace. I was actually really tempted to hop on that train, but it had not convinced me yet, and it seems like that was a good call. Even though they are fixing updates as they bugs with updates as they go along, it seems like each one keeps introducing new and more bugs, and they aren't simple ones. They're kind of game breaking. One current example is the ratchet straps, just strapping something down on your flatbed trailer. Animation is there. It totally doesn't do anything. You'll take a turn, everything that you spent probably the last 30 minutes loading on that trailer just rolls right off in front of you. Yeah,
Awesome.
that doesn't make you rage to quit a game for that much time sink and then have no effect for it. I don't know what will.
Yeah, that's a damn shame. And it's wild that game costs are going through the roof and we're getting buggier and buggier releases. But hopefully they get that fixed and they can continue to make those games, because I do know they have a pretty large following, right?
They do.
They absolutely do. Which is kind of surprising given their community outreach. Because last year at PAX, they actually had a booth there to help promote it before it was coming out, and I get that Giants isn't a huge studio, despite their name, uh, but they only had two marketing representatives, had nobody even involved in the game development there. And I tried to ask some basic questions about it, and all they had was their card to read off of. They didn't have much more, and it's starting to make me feel like they have such a small development team, or at least QA team, that they're only testing what they want to be able to market. They're not doing like a full, thorough, proper QA testing for things, if at all.
They correct
Just gonna
things
correct
and
things and just hoping on the community to report the bugs for them.
Yeah, it's a shame. Well, speaking of another small studio doing some not so great things, you got some news about World of Tanks, right?
Yeah. So the ongoing struggle of the over monetization of your player bases. So World of Tanks, another free to play game. Got nothing against them, and we always know that premium content is what we expect these days. You know you're gonna probably spend a little bit of money here or there to get a better experience out of it. And just like any other game that tries to monetize you, there's a bit of gambling involved. So they have their own loot boxes, which again, everyone has their opinions on. But it seems like they're taking their new set of loot boxes to the next level. Uh, they specifically what the people have been trying to call fractal loot boxes, where basically what you're trying to get out of a loot box from World of Tanks is a new tank, particularly the newest ones that comes out with the update. And for each loot box that you open, there's just a tiny, tiny little chance, like 2 to 5%, that you get one of these. But the goal is they have a guaranteed drop after you buy or open 50 of them. So you're pretty much expecting to have to buy minimum half of that, if not more, unless you're just really, really lucky.
Why not
to
just
get the
buy
tank
the
that you
tank?
want. I'm not as quite familiar with World of Tanks actual in game, because again I'm a War Thunder player. There's probably like two camps that will never cross trying to argue which is better. But this stuck out so much it even crossed over into my realm. But the caveat to that is that one of the chance drops is the next tier of loot box that you cannot purchase. So to get this next tier, you have to buy more for of the first tier to get a chance at getting the second tier, which has higher chances to drop the tanks you want, and slightly lower minimum you have to open for a guaranteed drop. But wait, there's more. It gets one more deeper with an additional third tier loot box that you can unlock only from the second tier that you have a chance to get.
What's in the box?
This one only has the newest tanks and a surprisingly high drop chance of 10% per loot box you open.
And
Jesus.
only
20
you have to open for a guaranteed drop. So you
Yeah.
have statistically less opportunities to get this new stuff as you keep going. And the first two have a chance of dropping a tank that's already been released, not even the new one. So you could get a tank of those increasingly low odds, but it's not the one you want.
That's fucked.
And I
looked a little bit in the statistics of it. They their last holiday sale with their loot boxes from that. Somebody did the crunch the numbers, and there was about, to get all of the 3 tanks that came out from that, you had to open about 151. So basically, the chances were so low that you had to open 50 boxes to get each of the new tanks.
God damn.
Yeah, dude, I'd rather just buy the fucking tank.
Right?
But under this
new model,
somebody
did the same numbers crunching. And to get all 3 new tanks under this new model, you'll have to open upwards of 600 of
That's
these boxes
unreal.
to guarantee getting all 3 of the new ones.
Mike, make sure you splice in the scene from 7 here where it's Brad Pitt just go, "What's in the box?" and then just like echo it. So it's, "What's in the box? In the box? In the box? What's in the box?
Who's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the fucking box?
Not the tank you wanted. Buy 400 more and you might get it.
Yeah, this reminds me of those like chaotic ass Christmas presents where you unwrap it and you open it and it's another wrapped box inside, and you unwrap that one and then it's another wrapped box inside. Yeah.
My
family has a history of giving me those things.
I think I did that. So there was one year that I just wanted to troll the shit out of my family, and I think I did that for my brother. I bought him like a gift card, and I ended up with a box that was like 14 by 20 or something.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like box wrapped with packing peanuts with a box wrapped all the way down. And then the other one was I made my dad a bunch of mix CDs of like classic rock, and I just put them all in like the smallest box I could find that fit them all, and then wrapped the fucking thing until it was a ball of duct tape. He was opening that all Christmas Day, like all day. So yeah.
I like the ones where like they weld the fucking like steel plating to the side of the box and then like put it in a cage and then weld that together and then do another box around it and weld that shit together.
Yep. Good stuff. Good stuff.
But the moral of the story from like getting from Bski's loot box thing is don't fucking play World of Tanks.
Yeah. Play War Thunder instead, apparently.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
I wouldn't recommend either of them.
As
He's like,
avid
they should
addict of
actually
War
just
Thunder,
don't
you
play
should
them.
probably not play War Thunder.
I like playing World of Tanks. I love getting immersed in it, and it's one of those things like, especially when it comes to gambling, if you're doing loot boxes or something, don't expect to walk out with the money you walk in with. Don't expect to actually get the value of what you're putting into it. Now, if you want to take that chance, that's you. I mean, that's gambling.
Good luck.
The way that they actually market this is it seems like, oh wow, there's a lot more chance to get this because it'll start distilling your chances, but it does the exact opposite. Because if you're only getting a 10% chance at the very end tier to get one of the three, that's not the value, because you have to add on the probability of you getting the third tier from your second tier and getting the second tier at all from your first tier. And
Yeah.
then even if then you could just be snagged by, oh look, you got something else that you didn't want. So from the guaranteed drop from the first two tiers. And so you have to keep going further and further. And they kind of obscure those kind of statistics. Of course, the market team is brilliant. They make it seem like, oh, it's way easier. You get way more for your stuff now, but it's not what you want.
Classic marketing.
Yeah.
If you can afford to buy 600 loot boxes, then do it.
Yeah.
Is what I'm getting.
Basically.
Whale bait.
Or whale bait.
Yep.
Yep.
They're
Yeah,
trying to
definitely.
milk the whales for more money. You know, they're getting really creepy.
Definitely. All right. Well, moving on. Blades of Fire game we've talked about a couple of times from Mercury Stream is releasing a demo. Actually has a demo playable right now. Their game comes out really soon. It actually comes out on the 22nd. So this is the team that made Castlevania Lords of Shadow. Fantastic game. So I'm very excited to see what they do. Unfortunately, for PC players like myself who prefer to play games on one ecosystem, Blades of Fire currently is only going to be available on the Epic Store. So I guess I'm not playing it anytime soon. Totally understand
The game
this
doesn't
choice.
exist.
Yeah, I totally understand this choice, considering the cost that Steam takes out of developers' pockets versus what Epic takes out of developers' pockets. I totally understand this choice. Personally, I would have released it both places, but that's just me. Maybe there's something I don't know. There is things I don't know, but their demo is playable on the Epic Store for PC players, and it's on PlayStation and Xbox stores. So it's available now, and the game comes out very soon. After that, Karma the Dark World, which has been critically acclaimed, blew up, actually. They've got crazy good reviews. Let's see where they're sitting right now. Karma, we talked about this on the podcast back when it was first announced. Tim and I talked about it. It's got 2,300 reviews, just over 2,300, and it is very positive. It is a fantastic game. It's a walking simulator psychological horror game. It's one that we felt was, God, what did we say? It kind of felt like, man, it has a vibe of like a cult kind of Cthulhu-esque horror mixed with just like control and just the weirdness of psychological horror. It looks really cool. I haven't gotten a chance to play it, but they have added a free cinematic filter mode, so you can change the filters of the game, as well as some other stuff, and Steam Deck verified. So it is Steam Deck verified for release. You can play it on your Steam Deck. Pretty cool. I believe it's on sale right now too. Yes, it's 20% off right now. That will end before you guys hear this, so it's $24.99. There is a demo, however. So if you're interested in it, it's a pretty cool game. The basic premise is Karma: The Dark World is a first-person cinematic psychological thriller set in a dystopian world where the Leviathan Corporation is omnipresent. The year is 1984, the place is East Germany, and things are not quite what they seem. So setting alone sounds great. 1984, as we know, is one of the greatest years for sci-fi.
Dystopian futures.
Yep, absolutely.
Apparently the game is also inspired by creators David Lynch, Twin Peaks.
Yep, that makes
Hideo
sense.
Kojima, Metal Gear Solid, Death Stranding, specifically, as well as Christopher Nolan, specifically noting Inception and Interstellar.
That makes a lot of sense. Moving on, Multiverse Designer is coming to Steam Early Access in Q2. This is... It's kind of like Telspire and 3D tabletop designer games. It's not really a game. It's a software to build a tabletop game in. And it looks really cool. It looks like it's got a lot of potential in it to really build. Specifically, they call out here, it has it will release with the core set rules of D&D 5e already implemented. So it looks like a very cool product to build a D&D campaign in. Honestly, like, the quality looks really great. It honestly looks on par with what we see in Baldur's Gate 3 in terms of like quality of visual effects. It looks really solid. Not necessarily a game, but it looks so good that I was like, man, we've got to talk about this. This looks fucking cool. So that comes to Steam in Q2 of this year. I believe you can probably get it right now somewhere else, but I'm not sure if you can get it direct from them. But
Michael will grab this.
I doubt it, just because we play in person, and this is very much like a play anywhere kind of thing, right? And I'm curious to see, because one of the issues with Tailspire, which is one he did get, and I got too because he got it, is everybody has to have it, right? So if everyone has to have it, what's the price point, or is this one going to be like a buy and you get friend codes kind of thing? I'm curious to see.
It's just the basic version will be free,
okay.
But everything after that, like if Michael does one of his like larger,
that's all he does. That's all he does.
Yeah. So everyone's buying in at that point.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see that where like the base game is for free for people to play with. You just join the lobby, but the actual DM or the world designer is the one that has to purchase the premium key and bonus versions to have all the tools to do that. Where just your players who want to join you, all they have to do is just download it and play along and just be part of it. And they don't have to have all the tools to go along with it, which would be a really good selling point. I think it would allow a lot of adoption for it. If you open that up for the casual players to do whatever they want with it, but only the people who are really leveraging the tools for it actually be the ones funding it.
Yeah, it could be really cool. Also, if it's built on UE5, it would add a lot more customization, because you can just import assets, which would be really cool. So, I mean, it's got the potential to really like let you build kind of whatever you want, really. So, it's something I'm going to watch, and I might end up picking up to build a D&D campaign, because I've had one in my head for a while that I'd love to do. And it doesn't have to be just D&D, right? It just says that it's going to have those rule sets baked in. That doesn't mean you can't purchase or add like Pathfinder or Warhammer or, whatever to it. So it's got some potential to be really cool.
It says the Game Master version, which I guess is the full paid version, gives unrestricted access to all assets and allows you to create and direct multiplayer games as a GM.
Hell yeah. So,
and it doesn't specifically say online. So I could see them doing a thing where it's like Baldur's Gate, but like couch co-op.
Maybe.
So like you could make a campaign inside of it, and then you all roll based on whose turn it is, and do your thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be neat. You guys know more about that shit than I do. I know just enough of D&D to like talk shit with you about D&D.
Yeah. I have been playing D&D for almost 10 years now, so yeah.
Fucking nerd.
A 7-year campaign just ended this year, so yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty intense stuff.
Those are the best ones, though.
Yeah.
Huh.
So, but that's Multiverse Designer, and it should be coming relatively soon. Q2 doesn't have an exact release date yet, but will be soon. Moving on to something else game related, but not really video game. This came across my desk. Silent Hill 2 is releasing a vinyl set, limited edition of vinyl. And boy, does it look cool. I found out that this is from a, God, what company was this?
Laced Records.
Laced Records, thank you. They do a lot of video game records. There's Halo, there's Far Cry, there's Rainbow Six Siege, there's all kinds. And I was like, holy shit, this is a realm of vinyl I didn't know I needed, but now I need it. Yep.
And they have like full-on box sets, like the Silent Hill 2 Deluxe, the X6LP box set is like $155.
But it's
Or
like
you can just do
5
the
records,
exclusive
isn't it?
edition, which is like, it's like 5 records.
Yeah.
Or the exclusive edition just comes with 2 of them for like $42.
And they're beautifully designed too. Like I think it's red vinyl that almost looks like it's pressed blood. Like it just the design from quality end to end, from sleeves to design of the actual record itself to artwork to write, just everything is really high quality from Laced, and it looks really cool. I would love to get my hands on it, but I'm not about to drop $155 on Silent Hill music right now. Maybe the Halo soundtrack, the original, and play the opening title theme and put that on the record and just put that up nice and loud. And just have my house shake.
I got it. Oh, they're sold out though. Of course they're sold out.
Yeah.
Every single Halo collection is sold out.
It's all limited runs too, so I don't imagine
every single one.
Yeah, so I don't imagine like you're not going to be able to be like, oh, I'll get this later. If you want one, you're gonna have to buy it now. Yeah.
They create that photo.
Photo before they even release it.
Right.
Yeah, I wonder if they have like a thing where you can go back and pay them extra to like repress.
I imagine they'll do multiple runs, but it's probably like you've got to wait, for that run. But who knows? It's a realm of video game memorabilia or paraphernalia I didn't know I needed. So that exists now. Next up here, we've got the 6-1 indie showcases coming up. This is a showcase that started a while ago and then died. I think it was due to COVID, ended up killing it. But it is coming back. The 6-1 indie showcase starts on May 22nd. I think this started, I'm trying to find when it originally kicked off, but there's going to be a bunch of indie games there, so we may have more content to talk about next episode from indies. Curious to see what comes out of it. It's hit or miss with indies with me. They can go either way. A lot of them can be very artsy or very like niche, and a lot of them can be a lot more broad. So we'll see what comes out of this one, but if there's anything good that we think is interesting, we'll update you for sure.
And then to answer your question of when this all started, it was April 2022.
Thank you.
It's when they established the showcase.
There you go. So I guess 2022. I wonder why they stopped for 3 year.
I mean, probably the COVID thing, because it was like right at the beginning of the middle of COVID lockdown.
Yeah. I thought
because it was yeah, because it was at that tipping point right before everything kind of like went way fucking left.
I guess that's true. I don't know. I don't remember being. Maybe it was different. Maybe I don't know where it's hosted, so maybe it was just different where it was hosted. So, anyways, that's coming back. If you've never seen it before, now you know it's a thing. Last bit of quickfire news here. I don't know how to say this. Stygian. Thank you. Stygian. Outer Gods, which is a game we've talked about recently, is a eldritch horror game, first person Lovecraftian terror. Announced their new roadmap and their plans they revealed early access, so it's an early access, and showed off their roadmap. So if you're into Call of Cthulhu, Still Wakes the Deep, any of those kind of games, this is going to be one.
Still Wakes the Deep is so good.
I still need to play it. I want to buy it.
It's
you told me it was
so
on
good.
Game Pass. I'm like, that's
It's
cool.
a
I want to give them my money.
Experience, dude.
I believe it. But this is available now in early access. It's $19.99. It's another great, H.P. Lovecraft style inspired Lovecraftian horror. We saw Sinking City got a surprise released remaster, which made that game look phenomenal from the update from UE4 to 5, and they did announce their sequel. So that Kickstarter was fully funded, I think, in less than 24 hours. So good for them. We will be seeing a Sinking City 2, which from what it looks like, the scope is awesome. But yeah, Outer Gods looks great. It looks right up the alley of anybody who likes these kind of games that wants, I would almost say like not quite Resident Evil horror, but kind of has some of the same vibes, just a very different,
like atmospheric similarities.
Yeah. Of the modern Resident Evils, right? So yeah, the roadmap. What?
So I was just say the roadmap.
Yeah.
If you want to continue.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to specifically mention the roadmap being the question I had is how can a game that's single player be early access when it's like one and done? The roadmap specifically mentions that there's a new location coming during early act, 2 new locations, the Home of Mists and the Mansion. And then at full release, they're adding just as more locations. So at some point, the game is going to get bigger.
Yeah.
So now would be the time to buy in, to be honest. There's also going to be like boss fights, more characters, artifacts, weapons, crafting, quests, all kinds of stuff. So it seems like they're actually like, they're not just making a one and done story, they're making a whole fucking like world.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and a lot of games that are single player that'll release in early access now will give you like Act 1, and then more of it will release later. We talked about that a couple weeks ago actually with the game that was like Skyrim, not Everwind, but the other one that was
Ever something?
No, I think it was actually. I think it releases soon. I think it was. I thought I had it on here.
Avon?
Yeah, Fall of Avon.
Avon,
fucking something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, yeah. Damn, I thought I had it on. Yeah, Tainted Grail. That's what it was. Tainted Grail: The Fall of Avalon. That's what it was. So yeah, that is it for our free access side. For those of you who want more content, we are going to go over to Patreon and we're going to talk more over there about a game that has become quite the joke and quite the scam. So if you want to hear more about that, we'll be over there. It's $3 a month at its minimum to get access to that. We also talk about upcoming games for the week. We do early access for Tuesday. These episodes obviously come out Wednesday. If and when we get to a point where we can run ads, we will be running ads on the free side. Just that's what you do on podcasts. It helps pay for things. It helps allow things. So if we ever get there, just know we will be. And if you pay for Patreon, you will always get the podcast ad free. So that's also included early access, more content, and upcoming games that we've all curated, looked through, and said, hey, these look cool. Let's talk about these. So if you want to hear more, patreon.com/CoinDropPod. And I think, Mike, you got a message?
Hey, dude, follow our go subscribe to our Facebook too.
Yeah, do that too.
Go follow us because we need to be streaming to Facebook so we can get everybody in on this. Also, Russ's birthday was yesterday, so make sure to constantly DM him nonstop. Happy birthday, you old fart!
Yeah,
and tell your mom I said hi.
Yeah, and we will see you next time.